welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you my updated everyday go-to makeup look that I do. This is basically how I get ready for work, what I do to make content, videos, everything. I feel like I go through different phases of what makeup I like, what kind of makeup I like. I remember back in the day, probably for my first makeup routine, I didn't really use any cream-based products. It was mostly powder. I didn't really embrace the glow and my kind of combination oily skin, which I now embrace and like to feel glowy and a bit more natural. I've just washed the curls and styled them. They're still a bit wet. I'm just letting them dry. I've got my headband in. Let's do it. For a long time I didn't wear foundation because I just wanted a more natural glowy look, and the only concealer I've been using recently is the L'Oreal Infallible More Than Concealer. If I don't use foundation, I just put that under my eyes and in my T-zone, but today I'll show you what foundation I've been using. I don't really use primer anymore because I always do my skincare in the morning and then I usually do my makeup. And I feel like my skincare and all the products I put on my face, I don't really need to add a primer because there's already a lot of products on there that's gonna hold the makeup, I think. The primers I do have is the N28 Primer Serum from Hourglass. This is very oily and it's for a glowy, seamless look. And then the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter primer. That's the only two I have at the moment. Sometimes for primer I just do a spray. So I have the Iconic London Prep Set and Glow. I've already used so much and I've only had this for a couple of months. So I use this to set my face and I'll use it to prep my face today as well. Smells so good. So for foundation I use the Fenty Beauty Hydrating Pro Filter Longwear foundation in the shade 300, and what I do, I just pump it onto the back of my hand. I do two full pumps, and then I use a sponge to put that on my face. Two pumps does enough for me, especially because I don't like wearing a very thick layer. I spread it out a lot. I spread it out all over my hand to make sure I get everything. Sorry, I'm putting the mirror in front of you. So yeah, this is literally what I do every day or whenever I'm doing content. I've got fake tan on right now. Sometimes this shade is a bit dark for me. I just make it work as long as it's not too noticeable. But yeah, because I have such an extensive skincare routine now, I never used to. I'm a lot more oilier. Well, not oilier, but like there's a lot more shine on my face because I like to keep my face super hydrated. So I actually don't use highlighter these days. And I'll show you the finished look without using any highlighter, but people still think I wear highlighter because I've got the glow. So foundation base done. This is what Fenty Hydrating Filter Foundation looks like. I used to be a very matte girl and I have the matte foundation, but definitely prefer a hydrated glowy look. Next is the concealer I mentioned before, the L'Oreal Paris Infallible More Than Concealer. So I always go under the eyes like that, always in an upward motion now rather than a big triangle under my eyes like I used to. And then I'll just do like a line there and there. This is in the shade 337 Almond, and I just use a sponge to blend that out. Sorry, this sponge is dirty. I need to clean my makeup stuff. But I always go in an upwards motion now with the concealer, like I bring it up so that makes your eyes look a bit more snatched. And I also dab on my eyelid as well and just get the concealer all over the eyes. I don't have blinds right now and my window is to the street, so I feel like I'm putting on a show for all the joggers and sidewalkers. This concealer just helps so much to brighten my under eyes. It's a very thick coverage. So for setting my face, I either use the Australis Fresh and Flawless Pressed Powder in medium tan or the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder. I tend to go with the Australis a lot more. I just use this Chi Chi Professional angled brush to set under my eye. So the next step has been a big addition and made a difference to my makeup routine. It's the Fenty Beauty Contour Stick in Truffle. I use this basically every time I do my makeup. Oh, that was a bit low. So I contour my cheekbones, then I do like a dotted line around my forehead, and then a light line on the sides of my nose, and then a light line on the jawline. This brush is a game changer. I use it every time for cream contouring. The Face Paint Zoeva brush in 109, and this works really well with the Fenty contour. Alright, so it's now when I decide whether I want a liquid blush or a powder blush. I did liquid blush for a long time, so now I would put liquid blush. And what I've been using a lot is the cream blushes from Fenty Beauty. Everything's Fenty, sorry. This is in Strawberry Drip. That's one that I use a lot. But I think today I'm gonna do powder blush. When I want more of a strong blush, a more obvious blush, I do powder, whereas the cream ones are a bit more natural. So since I'm doing a powder blush, I'm gonna take this fluffy brush, go in with the Australis Fresh and Flawless in Deep Tan. So under my eyes was medium, and now this is Deep Tan for the rest of my face. And I just powder my forehead. That gets pretty oily in photos. I don't really go over the cream contour. I just powder the parts where I didn't contour. See, I'm not going over the creamed contour. I go over that with a bronzer. My chin gets really oily too. So I'm going under the cream contour to define that area. And then I further define my face and go over the cream contour with a bronzer. And I've been using the Sunlit bronzer from Becca in Ipanema Sun. Yeah, this is my go-to bronzer. It's very, I think it's got a slight shimmer to it, but it's very natural but buildable. So I just use this Sports Girl bronzer brush and go lightly around my forehead. Always in a very upward motion. Up, up. And on the jawline. This blush is the Savvy Classic Blush. Very cheap and affordable from Priceline, but it is so pigmented. The shade is the Classic Blush Cherry. I just love the shade of this, and it's so affordable, so pigmented. It's a nice peachy color. It's just my favorite color blush, and it's the cheapest one I have. This brush is great for blush. It's the Zoeva 127. I always smile so I can see the apples of my cheeks. And I like to take it up here now. Again, in a very upwards motion. And I lightly go over the middle of my nose too, to kind of create this cute little, what do you call it? Just a little blush on the nose. Next, I do my eyebrows with the Benefit Goof Proof Brow Pencil. This is an OG. I think I've used it in every makeup video for my brows. And I'm in the shade 4.5, so it has a brush on one end and then the pen on the other. I like to define the outer brows, but I keep it quite faded in the start of the brows. And I've used the brush a lot, so I think that's the key to making it look natural and nice and faded out naturally. You just keep brushing through them because it helps to spread out the pencil and the color. Okay, I'm back after brows. I do my eyeshadow and I don't do anything crazy. It's all natural vibes, but the two palettes I have are from Mellow Cosmetics, which they sent me a while ago, and they've just been my favorite ever since. So they've got some nice warm nude shades. I kind of just switch between the two. Whatever I pick up, I use. So what I do, I go in with like a warm brown, kind of orangey vibe. This is the French Girls color. So I go dark on the outer lid and then blend outwards from there. And then I get a flatter brush, and with that same color, I just lightly go under my waterline. Just very lightly and thin, nothing too thick. And if I want it a tad darker, I'll go in with a darker brown. So I went in with French Girls, now I'm going in with Undressed, and I'm basically doing the same thing. Just deepening the outer lid and then blending. It's all about blending it out, baby. Sometimes I put glitter on the rest of my lid, but I kind of just like it leaving it plain for everyday looks. Sometimes I won't do a brown liner, but I'll show you how I do it. So with the same palette, I'll go in with a dark brown on an angled brush. This is from Nude by Nature, and I just do a little liner on the corners of my eye. Sometimes I stuff this up and I make it too pointy or too big. Kind of just lightly sketch it in. Okay, it looks better when I add mascara. I feel like they're a bit wonky today. I kind of like them more straight and I kind of went do. Anyway, I forgot an essential part of the eyeshadow. I get a highlighter. Today I'm using the Becca Champagne Pop, and I get a little brush and I go in on my inner corner. Gotta make the inner corner glow. And then the same on the brow bone, under the brow. And then sometimes on the tip of my nose as well. Time to curl the eyelashes. I have a heated eyelash curler, but it's right out of battery and I keep forgetting to buy the special batteries for it, but it's really good at curling eyelashes. For mascara, I've been using the L'Oreal Teloscopic range. I've got the black one and then the silver one. I always get them when they're on sale at Priceline, but this is the best mascara. I've used it for years. It makes your eyelashes really, really long and spidery in a good way. It adds a lot of length and volume. So let's go in with that. That's the brush. It's nice and long and skinny. I think I prefer long, skinny mascara brushes rather than thick, bushy ones, because it really gets into each lash. I've also been putting Lash Serum every night to make my eyelashes grow, and it's from Lash Fridays, and I feel like they've gotten a bit longer. Going back in with that same eyeshadow and angled brush, I'm going to go over my beauty spot that I have here. I like to define it these days, just with the corner of that brush, and then I kind of pat it in to make it look natural. And then sometimes I add another one on my chin. And I did go through a phase where I was doing a lot of fake freckles, and you guys asked how I did it. I would use a brown eyeshadow and I'd use this brush to draw them in, as well as a bobby pin. So I would dip the bobby pin into the eyeshadow and then you kind of pat them out to make them look more natural. But yeah, that's all I did. So for lips, I either use the Australis lip pencil in Canoodle, which is a nice brown nude, or I use the Mecca Pout pencil in Super, which is more of my go-to these days. It's a nice dark brown, and the Mecca pencils are really affordable as well compared to other brands, so I definitely recommend them. They have some nice nude shades. I also have their red shades. But yeah, I love a dark brown outline on my lips just to help make them look nice and plump. I've always been a liquid lipstick girl. I feel like they're just way more practical for every day because they don't rub off. These ones like dry, but they don't dry your lips, and you can eat and everything and they'll stay on pretty much. And again, from Mellow Cosmetics, they have an amazing nudes range. They do lip glosses and then also the matte liquid lipsticks. So the shades I use a lot is Saint Tropez, Sydney, Auckland, and Berlin. I'll use Sydney today, which is quite light compared to the lip pencil, so we'll see how it turns out. Then I usually go back with the lip pencil and just help blend it out. Alright everyone, that's the finished look. This is what I do for my go-to makeup. As you can see, the no highlight works. I feel like if I put highlight, it'll just be too much oily stuff going on. It looks like glowy without highlight, so that's a big change to my makeup routine, because I used to love highlight. It was like my favorite part of makeup, making myself look glowy, but I find that sticking to a really good skincare routine makes me not need to use highlight on my cheekbones. Let me know if you're going to try out any of these products that I've used, or if you already have them. Please let me know what other videos you want to see from me. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out and your support means the world. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!